You're watching Fox 45 in Baltimore. Now live from TV Hill, this is BMORE Lifestyle.
Hey, what's up, Baltimore? It's me, your girl, Lady T, and this is BMORE Lifestyle, live from Studio B at Fox Baltimore. We've got lots to discuss today, so let's get to it. All right, I have meteorologist Amy Aaronson here with us, along with my girl, Terra Reeves, and of course, Persia Nicole from 92Q. Hello, ladies.
Hey, girl. Happy Monday.
Hey.
Happy Monday.
It's a ladies show. Ladies on a Monday. I love it. I love it. All right, let's get started, ladies. All right, so let me tell you. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reminds Americans to be cautious while voting. They've released safety tips to help lessen the spread of COVID-19. Among the recommendations, wearing a mask, maintaining distance from others, and washing hands before and after casting ballots. The CDC also recommends bringing your own supplies like a pen, tissues, and hand sanitizers to avoid contracting or even spreading the virus. And lastly, the CDC wants you to try to limit your time at the polls. In addition to that, on my end, what I want everyone to do is when you vote, send a photo, maybe twerking. I don't know, if you're that excited like I am gonna be. Let me tell you, it's something exciting about voting. I just start getting down after I vote, and then like, you know, I leave the premise. But I leave them with a lasting impression, I feel like. Am I wrong, Persia Nicole? Back me up. Am I wrong? It's something exciting about voting, right?
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I don't have enough rhythm, so I don't want to post any videos of me twerking because they're going to be like, girl, put that away. But what I will say is I get very excited to vote. I'm the type of person, I don't want to mail in my ballot. I actually want to be there in person. It just gives you like that little It's something about the rush. So I'll definitely be there.
It's something about it. I agree. It's something about being there in person, you know, although I know we had a lot of issues with mail-in ballots, but it's something about voting in person. You just, I'm so excited, like I'm doing my part. Oh my goodness. Tara, what did you think?
Lady T, I'm with you in Persia. I would relate voting much like a sporting event or a concert. It is different. I mean, you can watch the game on TV, you can listen to an album, but to be there and experience it, I'm with you. I don't want to mail my vote in. Of course, I don't have any underlying conditions. Washing your hands, wearing a mask. I feel very safe, and I am 100% going to the polls. Haven't missed an election since I turned 18. Don't plan on missing this one.
That's amazing. Look at you. And now I'm going to pass the ballot to Amy. Amy, here you go.
So I'm the outlier here. I already voted. I put it in one of those boxes. I'm like a list person and I'm very OCD, so I just wanted to check it off my list, not worry about it. And honestly, the ballot box was so easy. They're so clearly marked. And of course, I took a little video putting my ballot in, a fun little boomerang, because I'm not going to get the sticker. That's the only thing that's kind of a bummer. But I wanted to get it done and make sure it was in. And it was still exciting, just in a different way.
Yeah, the sticker selfies are going to be real today for early voting, honestly. It's going to be something serious. But yeah, that's exciting. All right, and we want everyone out there to tell it. We want you to tell it. Will you be voting early today? Or did you already send in your ballot? Maybe you're waiting until Election Day next week like moi. Let us know. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote and tell us. Or go on the Fox 45 News app under Explore. You can find a spot to vote. At the end of the show, we're going to see what everybody thinks. All right, now let me tell you, a new study finds kid influencers marketing junk food and sugary drinks to fellow kids. The study, published in the journal Pediatrics, reveals how advertisers are taking advantage of new ways to market to kids. Researchers analyzed videos from 5 of the most watched kid influencers on YouTube last year. They found that 179 of the YouTube videos featured food or drinks, with 90% of those showing unhealthy foods. Just curious, did they think that the kids were going to be promoting vegetables or Brussels sprouts? I don't know if they thought, what did you think they were going to be promoting? It was not going to be kale. It wasn't going to be iceberg lettuce. Obviously, it's going to be junk food. That's like the go-to. Tara, am I wrong?
You're not wrong. And here's what I will say. Watching commercials as a child, they can actually influence children. I know I was actually very deceived. I bought this Barbie head when I was little, and it was supposed to be where you braid her hair, you straighten it, you crimp it, you can, and then in the commercial you cut the hair, but then in the next frame it's grown back. So the first day I got my Barbie head for Christmas or whatever, I chopped all the hair off and it did not grow back. And so children can be deceived by these commercials. So I think it is very important that hopefully they do push, maybe not kale, but healthier yogurts and fruits and things like that.
Let me find out Terra bought the wrong Barbie. Was it from Dollar Tree, Terra? We gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
No!
It was Dollar General. Just be honest,
No.
Terra. Just be honest. I'm kidding. Persia, chime in.
Honestly deceived.
You know what? I had a similar experience. It's like Terra. You know, we all had the Easy Bake Oven. Did you ladies have that when we were
I
younger?
did. Mm-hmm.
And then the commercials, the brownies and the cakes came out so good.
Yes.
But mine was terrible.
Yes.
But I wanted to buy it because it was, you know, brownies and sweets and things like that. So I can, you know, assume that these YouTube videos definitely help the kids and their trends and things like that. And of course, a sweet tooth. My son is 5, so he would buy whatever's on YouTube if he could, if it was sweets.
Yes, them Easy Bake Ovens are good. You got it. Okay, let's move on to this last topic I really want us to chime in about. All right, so Oreos makes plans to make sure cookies survive a global disaster. In a video on YouTube, Oreo says it was inspired by the global seed vault in Norway to create its own vault. Oreo claims that the vault was created in response to a slight chance of an asteroid hitting Earth's atmosphere next Monday. It's unlikely that the asteroid would survive entering the atmosphere, but still, this is amazing. A global Oreo vault. Like, I'm an Oreo fan. So, Amy, you better be an look, Amy, this is important. I love Oreos. This is like, I think it's a great idea. What do you think?
So you know I'm not a chocolate person. Haven't I said that on here before?
You did.
Yeah,
You did.
so I'm not a regular Oreo fan, but like now they've got all the fun different flavors. So I'm a non-original Oreo fan, I guess. I like the different flavors, the one with vanilla in them. But Oreos do go stale after some time. So I wonder if they've got certain techniques within that vault to keep them nice and fresh. Because you know when you leave your Oreos sitting out or like you open them and then they sit there for too long, they're just not the same. So hopefully they've got something else going on in that vault to keep them nice and fresh so they survive.
I love it. Okay, so we're running out of time, but Terra and Persia, can I get a roof raise if you love Oreos?
I'll bow down to whoever made that.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great. Well, thank you, ladies. I love having my ladies on Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining in with me today. All right, talking politics can seem like quite the challenge, no matter who you talk to, but how do you talk to your kids about it? Still ahead, the best ways to get started and why you should be having a conversation with them. Also, when it comes to treating cancer, you can often find many people behind the scenes. The Cancer Community Awards wants to recognize those unsung heroes. Next, we're speaking with the winners.
This BMORE Lifestyle segment is sponsored by AstraZeneca.
Oncology care is advancing at an extraordinary pace, and understanding the impact of the advancements to realize meaningful change requires collaboration and connection across the vast community of healthcare professionals. The C2 Awards are part of the Your Cancer program, a broader initiative launched by AstraZeneca to spotlight those at the forefront of cancer research and patient support. So joining us today is Dr. Lincoln Nadal. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us, Doctor. What are the Cancer Community or C2 Awards, and who do they recognize?
The C2 Awards are co-sponsored by AstraZeneca and the publication Scientific American, and they are meant to recognize innovators and researchers and support care providers in medicine and specifically in cancer care.
And I understand that there are 4 different award categories. Can you break those down for us?
Yes, there are 4 different categories. I was nominated specifically for the Catalyst for Precision Medicine. There are other categories, including the President's Award and Catalyst for Change and Catalyst for Care Awards.
So can you further break down the category that you were nominated for and how you've helped instill new hope for those facing that cancer diagnosis?
We have been using precision medicine to treat advanced cancer patients, and what that really means is that we can use the DNA from a patient's cancer to better predict and develop treatment regimens that are specific for that individual and tailored for that specific patient. We found that by using that precision medicine approach, patients live longer and feel better, and overall, it costs less to the entire healthcare system and to that individual. So that combination of living longer, feeling better, and costing less is really exciting and innovative, and it's instilling hope in patients all over the country.
And Dr. Nadal, the awards are a part of the program Your Cancer that of course focuses on the importance of the whole community really coming together to fight cancer, and what an important time with October being Cancer Awareness. So why is it important, and what role does your organization play in that?
My organization, Intermountain Healthcare, is really focused on helping people live the healthiest lives possible. And we found that by using precision medicine, we really can help people live the healthiest lives possible, but it also takes an entire community. By linking arms with friends, families, neighbors, colleagues, and then using cutting-edge technologies, we can deliver the best care possible to each individual patient.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited. Thank you for all the research that you've done, Dr. Nadal. Where can our viewers go for more information?
You can go to yourcancer.org to find out more.
Thanks again.
National Caregivers Month is happening in November, but we're recognizing caregivers this morning. Still ahead, the challenges they may face and what to do to overcome them. Also, keep your kids informed on the election. Next, how you can spark the conversation with your kids.
This is BMORE Lifestyle.
All right, the presidential election is sparking some unlikely conversations, even with your kids. You may think it's a challenging task to talk about with your children, but this election season is very important. Now, we have Rachel Buchholz, is the editor-in-chief for National Geographic Kids. Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. So how can we find teachable moments and focus on the issues at hand with children this year?
Sure. So sometimes the issues can be pretty confusing for kids, so it's a great idea to look for those teachable moments. For instance, children are probably have heard a lot of contentious debate right now, whether it's between two candidates or just two adults having intense conversation. So it's a great opportunity for parents to reinforce those values that they want to see in their kids, especially about arguing fairly. You know, this is why we listen to each other. This is why we don't yell. This is why we don't call each other names.
Right.
Another great opportunity that parents have right now is to really start developing those critical thinking skills in their children. And what I mean by that is telling them that they don't always have to take what everybody tells them or what they hear or read about at face value, that they should always be asking questions, investigating facts, so that they can come up with the truth on their own and also start thinking for themselves.
Wow, okay. So how do you talk to children about approaching those with differing views?
Right. Well, you know that kids kind of see the world in these all or nothing views. You know, I like ice cream, so therefore everybody must like ice cream. And that attitude can kind of bubble into the issues at hand. So it's really important for parents to tell kids that it is possible for people to have different points of view. They're not always going to be the same as yours, and that's okay. But more importantly, I think it's important to tell kids that even when people disagree with you, even when they do have different views, they still deserve your kindness and respect.
Wow. So, okay, so how can parents educate their children and have these tough and important conversations?
Well, first of all, don't think that kids aren't aware of the election or don't care. There are so many issues that they care really passionately about, whether it's the environment or racial justice, school, and even healthcare right now. So it's important for parents to just start asking questions and find out what your child knows, what they actually understand, and then what their concerns are. Because once you find that out, then you can start having these conversations and talking to your kids in very age-appropriate language in a way that makes them feel listened to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for those tips, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
All righty, we're seeing even more fall foliage. Meteorologist Amy Aaronson is showcasing some stunning pictures. Hey, Amy.
Hey, Tiffany. Yeah, hopefully everybody took advantage of Saturday. Saturday was the day to enjoy the fall foliage. If we take a look at where we're at right now, I tweeted this out this morning. We're actually in that orange color, so right around peak from Baltimore on northward, just south of the city. Leaves are closer to the midpoint there, but as you head out further west, of course, those temperatures or those colors are already peaking. So let's take a look at some of those pretty colors. This one comes to us from Aaron Miller, actually the producer of this show, enjoying the cooler temperatures at Gunpowder State Park fall foliage. And look at that cute pup in the middle there. I think that's certainly stealing the attention from this photo, but the leaves are also very pretty. Another picture comes to us. This was from Friday, spent all day chasing those beautiful fall colors, but look how pretty that is. The yellows, oranges, and reds showing up and then actually reflecting off the water there. So this was the scene over the weekend. I know today is damp and dreary, but the colors still look pretty on the trees, and we should actually be drying out later today and tomorrow, so you should have a chance to see those if you haven't already. Now let's take a look at the worst weather in the country in comparison. Look at these numbers. Denver at a measly 7 degrees right now. Some pretty cold stuff is moving in actually behind our next weather maker, and they're seeing some of the white stuff there. So snow accumulated yesterday in Denver, a couple of feet in the higher elevations in the city, closer to 4 or 5 inches of snow. Now that winter weather is starting to push southward, actually reaching northern parts of Texas. So some unusual winter weather there. This is what we're tracking next. This is actually going to head our way later this week and tap into some tropical moisture and send us our next significant chance for rain. But before that happens, we're actually looking at improving conditions both later today and tomorrow before this gets here. So now we're also tracking Zeta. Tropical storm Zeta is first going to impact the Yucatan Peninsula, then become a hurricane, strengthen into a hurricane, potentially make a landfall along the Gulf Coast, and then look at that cone, takes it our direction by later on in the week. So we could be dealing with the remnant moisture combined with that next front headed our direction. If we track how much rainfall we're expecting, highest amounts right along the Gulf Coast where that potentially makes a landfall. But for us, we could pick up a solid 1 to 2 inches, and that would be Thursday into Friday. So for today, we are just looking at leaves starting to fall. Now would be the time to maybe clear those from your gutters or from the storm drains in advance of all that rain headed our way. We should see some peaks of sun by day's end with highs ending up in the low 60s. Tonight, we drop into the low 50s with cloudy skies overhead. And here's a look at when that rain arrives. It looks like we see the remnants arrive Thursday into Friday. After that, we'll dry things out and cool things down just in time for Halloween. Back to you.
This BMORE Lifestyle segment is sponsored by Acadia Pharmaceuticals.
About 8 million people in the U.S. are living with Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. The big symptoms may be overlooked or go untreated for a long period of time. Meryl Comer is the founding board member of Us Against Alzheimer's, and Stephen Chambers is a current caregiver for his father who is living with Alzheimer's. This satellite interview is sponsored by Acadia Pharmaceuticals. Hello, you guys. How are you today?
Hi there, Lady T.
All right. Well. Thank you. Okay, so let's start off with Meryl. Did your mother or husband experience hallucinations or delusions, and what was it like for them and for you?
Unfortunately, both of them, both my husband and my mother, they were all slightly different. But those early signs are much more common for families, and they need to pay attention to them because doctors don't usually tell you. They can range from subtle or distinct changes in personality. I used to call them the garden variety grounds for divorce, the way my husband acted. Then they become trust, and over half of caregivers who've been surveyed recently understood that their loved ones no longer trusted them because they didn't have the insight. Then there are those sudden outbursts that come out of nowhere. You don't know what triggered it or that paranoia.
Wow. Okay. So why are some of the symptoms often overlooked?
We're embarrassed. Doctors don't want to talk about it. You're protecting a loved one's dignity. That's not the father you knew. That's not the husband you knew. It's very different, and that's why you pull them away, so you protect their dignity. You don't want people to see them that way. That's not the way you want to be remembered, and that's why caregivers get themselves in trouble. They don't go to the doctors, and they don't flag it as an issue earlier rather than later, because if it happened once or twice, it's going to happen again.
Okay. So, Stephen, Alzheimer's runs in your family and you're providing care to your dad. Can you tell us about his experience of hallucinations, delusions, or anything else?
Sure. They began early on when he was in the early stages of the disease, and it is often easier to dismiss it, especially when they're minimal. If it's just a delusion where, you know, he thought he had a conversation with someone that is no longer living or is not there. He thought he saw cats in the house. These things that are bizarre, it's often easier for family members to ignore it and just hold on to the times that he is lucid, because he's lucid a majority of the time at that stage of the game. But I would encourage people to not ignore it. Don't bury your head in the sand. Often the person who's afflicted with this disease is in a state of denial, and it takes the loved ones to really push forward, get them in front of a doctor, take note of what you're seeing, discuss it amongst each other, and really don't hold back. Okay. Your instinct is to want to protect the individual, but you're really doing the best thing for them by getting them the care they need and trying to do the best you can to intervene early and preserve their quality of life as long as possible.
Got you. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Meryl and Stephen. Lots of good info there. Next, it's the first day of early voting here in Maryland. Will you be waiting in line today, or maybe you already sent your ballot in? Let us know. All right, and we wanted you to tell it. Will you be early voting today? Here's a look at our results. All right, 45% said they're voting early. Okay, good job, you guys. Make sure you get out there and vote. Baltimore, thank you so much for inviting us into your home.